what we're doing is presenting the authentic sound of a Jamaican sound system. We've got 3 sound systems together so that none of them will be running to overpowered levels. It's all going to be like a giant hi-fi stereo basically, and it'll be like a Jamaican blues event, playing the original records on vinyl.
My band Counting Coins are going to be headlining the show at the New Adelphi with Stiff Joints from Kidderminster and Scar Pete the Uplifter, solo artist who lives and breathes ska. You should see the 2-tone tattoos he's got, it's hilarious. And he's a lovely bloke. We go from one man on the stage to a massive, many-headed ska army in the shape of Stiff Joints. Seen these guys a few times, played with them a few times over the years. Absolutely hilarious show. You know, it's very much a live show that you have to be there to experience it.
There's Shack Shaker sound system, Substance, and Funky Wormhole. Well, he's doing the history of ska, reggae, roots from like New Orleans roots.
Come forward, bounce with us. This one's called Your Kind of Folk.
Well, Counting Coins first originally started, I wasn't even in the band when it first started, but the other guys will agree to this. You know, it first started from a love of what you would call third wave ska, so the kind of Californian ska punk scene. Bands like Operation Ivy, Rancid. I suppose also from the UK response to that had already happened, bands like Random Hand and King Prone, who had all taken that ska DNA with the offbeats and put that into punk music and made it a bit louder and faster, and you know, made it a new take on that. And so what Counting Coins did was to take that and kind of pick up the baton, as it were, and start bringing in, you know, further influences from hip hop, from kind of gypsy jazz and gypsy folk elements, and just kind of keep running with it, you know.
It's almost every band he mentioned then I haven't heard. In fact, everyone. When I was a kid, when I was like 10, I was into the Specials and Madness, you know, like the whole ska thing. As far as I was concerned, ska was the name for good music.
We kind of don't really think of ourselves as a ska band as such. You know, there's a scene that is kind of gradually coming up with other bands that we feel that we're a part of that don't even really have a name yet. Festival vibes and party music and just everybody get involved. Still retaining that element of unity, of a collective experience of everybody getting involved with the music and just letting go and having fun with it. Whatever genre you want to call it, that's what it is.
Well, Jamaica's an island, and its nearest place on mainland America is New Orleans, and the rhythm and blues of New Orleans and really psychedelic jazz through Sun Ra, people like that, all came to Jamaica, and people in Jamaica, they loved the music, and really they were just trying to imitate elements of that music so they could have their own bands and make money out of the tourists who turned up in Jamaica. And then various mutations of the sound, and a guy called Prince Buster, well, that was his stage name, he had an idea to change the accent of the music. So rather than being on the beat, he changed it to being off the beat. So the syncopation changed, and it created like a hypnotic sound, influenced quite a lot by the fact that most of the musicians that were working in the studios then were religious. So it was like a hypnotic, religious, we used to call it polkamania.
You know, it's the same story that's happened, I suppose, in anything. You know, everybody's kind of influenced by what's gone before. The American kind of 80s and 90s sort of bands, they were probably listening to the Specials and to Madness and all that sort of stuff. It's just something that keeps rolling forward, you know. you can trace it all back to banging rocks together, making a rhythm like that. As I say, we kind of taken that, and that is, I suppose, at the heart of what we do. But it's not by any means the only tributary to our river of, I don't know where this metaphor's going, to the ocean probably. Maybe I should just get in the sea.
Jerry, he used to DJ in London after the specials and the ska thing. You know, Jungle became massive in London, and it's got a very similar effect. Jungle, when it's played on a sound system, it's got quite a powerful feeling, like the original ska and the reggae. And he was spending a lot of time DJing in clubs, mixing Jungle.
We have a lot of fans that will be aware of Jerry Dammers and will be aware of that heritage and what we do. And I think also, certainly from the sort of festival gigs that we do, there's a lot of really young kids who perhaps don't know that yet.
People are still finding out about the music and the power, the effect that it has on you. It's just the same now, as it was then.
There's no reason why both nights can't be very busy, potentially even sell out. I think there's enough going on these days and enough people going out these days to support this and more. Maybe wouldn't have been the case a few years ago, or going back a while. I know you've been promoting for a long time. I don't know, there's perhaps been some darker days of...
I don't know if it's been darker than this.
You reckon?
Oh man. Yeah, things are different. Before, going out was normal. People had money that they could spend in, not that everyone had loads of money to spend, but there was enough money to have a life outside your own house. The city culture are not interested in people from Hull, as far as I'm aware, because they know they haven't got any disposable income. All their events are trying to bring other people into the city to overcome the fact that people in Hull are incredibly skinned, and they know that.
Overall, I think it is a positive thing to see a lot going on. It's not just our two events. I'm sure there's loads going on that night.
Yeah.
It's the same every week. There's always, I don't know, maybe I'm just more aware of it because it's everywhere on my Facebook feed, but there's always stuff getting promoted.
Reggae generally seems to be the rhythm of choice to people. I mean, someone came in the shop who was working at the university training graduates, and he was just saying that all around the country, reggae is it's become the music of objecting to the austerity measures that have been put in place. And really everybody's felt that feeling of like, what the hell's going on? And when you listen to the lyrics on especially the vintage reggae tunes that came out of Jamaica, they were being seriously oppressed, you know what I mean? There was people dying all the time, and the music was relating to the fact that there is no need for this. Yeah. There's no benefit to it, and the people that are suffering from it are not the people who are benefiting from what the measures are supposed to improve. No one's going to benefit from it.
Punk has always been a kind of, I suppose I should put a disclaimer in here, I wouldn't call myself a punk, with a capital P, but yeah, punk has always been a kind of, a reaction, a rebellion, or whatever you want to call it, and it's quite well documented that when reggae and ska and everything came over to the UK, and all the kind of punk bands and the reggae artists, there was a lot of fusion there, and there was a lot of exciting things going on. People coming together for things like Rock Against Racism, and a whole movement of I suppose, a backlash against Thatcherism and everything that was going on at the time. We wouldn't call ourselves a political band as such, but there are some political themes in a lot of our songs, not all of them. And the same, I think, goes for the Stiff Joints as well, who are playing directly before us. They've got a lot of commentary on their situation in a similarly downtrodden faded town of Kidderminster, which they call the K-hole. But you know, that always goes hand in hand with a celebratory element. Yeah, everything's crap, but let's just have a party. You know, and that's always been kind of what we've been about. I think that's something that's very important to them and to a lot of bands that we see on the scene, on the wider kind of ska punk and whatever else scene that we get around. You know, there's an element of 2 fingers up to the establishment, but also put your drinks in the air and have a laugh, get your knees up, pick it up, all that sort of business.
The punk ethic of like, this is how it is, 3 chords and a grudge, is actually a million miles away from what is being accomplished with the sound system, because this can be just like a single note, but it's very pure, it's all tuned, you know, and it just shows that music, over time, it can develop and morph itself into different kinds of resonances.
Yeah, I just want to go on record saying that we do sometimes play more than 3 chords in one song.
Oh, sorry, I'm paraphrasing. That was Nigel's quote. Punk is 3 chords and a grudge. Yeah. That was what he once said to me, and it's just.
Yeah. I'm not taking any offence to that.
Some good punk tunes have only got 1 chord.
Oh yeah.
And samba.
Less is more sometimes.
Yeah.
Less is more, but sometimes more is more. You know, so some of our songs have got 15 chords in one bar. Regardless of how many chords we're playing, you know, there is an element of a grudge in there. Like I say, we do have some sort of political songs, as you may or may not have been able to guess, kind of generally a bit leftist. But I take what you're saying about the, you know, the different kind of vibe. It certainly is more of an upbeat kind of physical. Everybody jumping about, and it's certainly sweaty. That's certainly
it's more mosh pit than skank.
Yeah, sweaty is certainly an adjective that gets levelled at us a lot, and I think they mean, you know, the atmosphere of the show as well, than just the guys in the band naming their names. I suppose the point I'm getting at is that you can have one or the other. You know, you've got options that night, so whichever one you think you'd be into, get involved.
You know, the fact is, skinheads, mods in the 60s, people who were going to all these gigs, people who were interested in music, people who were investigating dub, it's all actually the same people, it's a different part of the day. And all those people, they just perpetually exist. So to say that something was around in the 60s, it's old, that's it, game over, it's some kind of revival thing, well, it's a bit bonkers really, because as time's going by, you've got new bands, like, you know, Will's got a band that are rehearsing, doing festivals, travelling around, having a great time. People are into that kind of sound. And then you've got other people, like Jerry, who's going out, finding all the sounds, and then still, you know, he's 60-year-old, but he's still travelling around the country and showing a different version, I guess, of what he was showing with the specials, which is that, you know, the punk thing was influenced by the late 60s psych garage bands, and bringing the ska element into it was quite an amazing thing to do, and also showing that black people and white people aren't all that different. You know, that goes on today. You still have, you know, people do actually believe that they're different because they're a different colour, and that's a level of insanity that shouldn't, you know, be accepted. And so any time that it's put forward that we are all in fact the same, it's a great thing really. You know, hopefully on that night 2 areas of the town are going to have similarly billed events, but you know, if you were going to go to both of them, I think you'd actually walk in and think, well, this is very incredibly different things, but the vibe, somehow the underlying vibe and the knowledge and everything, the knowledge base of it is actually the same.
After this gig, we've got a couple, maybe 2 or 3 booked in around the country, but I think we're going to have a month or 2 of just sort of perhaps not gigging. It's coming up to a year since we released our debut album, self-titled Counting Coins, and spent most of the year just sort of pushing that. Not really been doing a lot of writing, so it's time to get back in. There's a few ideas that have been bounced around that have been sort of, you know, noted, so we're going to get back in the studio and just get back together and start making some new stuff.
The night after, I'm going to Easy Skanking at the Adelphi. That's a monthly reggae night. That's reggae revival as well. They're actually doing a set at the Jerry Dammers night of classic reggae. I've also got another DJ on the Jerry Dammers night, which is Dr. Kitch, who DJs on the National Scooter rallies. And then on the Tuesday we're putting the sound system on the P&O ferries, and we're doing the reggae cruise to Amsterdam. So that's Tuesday the 8th.
We are playing at the London International Ska Festival in April of next year, and we're also doing another P&O cruise thing, as John mentioned. They're doing I can't remember how many it is. I think it's 8 bands from Hull, 8 bands and acts. I think it's 4 on the way out and 4 on the way back.
Walton Street is a fantastic venue. It's really underutilised just because it's slightly out of HU5. But it's an amazing room. The staff and the people who run the place are fantastic.
Tickets are £6 in advance. They're available from the Adelphi. They're available from the People's Republic bar on Newland Avenue. They're available from me if you bump into me in the street. You can get in contact with us on Facebook for more details, which is facebook.com/countingcoins, all one word.
Can I tell the punks that you like disco?
Yeah, there's no secret.
Are they allowed to know that?
There's no secret in that. You know, I do like a bit of disco.
I thought there was something wrong with me when I realised I like disco.
No, it's not always been
I was embarrassed of myself
something
for
to
liking
admit
it.
it. Yeah, but got a bit of disco.
I know. There's some quality stuff.
I think if you don't,
If you can't admit it,
that's fine. You know, in your own time.
one day you will.
But yeah, a bit of disco.